Hi, this presentation will be on SSL TLS, which is used to encrypt HTTP traffic. It's used throughout the entire internet, and we'll talk about how it works and some of the future developments that are in store for it. So we'll talk about certificates, asymmetric and symmetric encryption, major vulnerabilities that have been discovered, and its future. Certificates are issued to websites. They're signed by a certificate authority, and the web browser, the client, can see these certificates and authenticate that the server is actually who it is. So we know that the owner of the server is who they say they are. Here we can see an example of a certificate. Here we see that the website is fidelity.com. The owner is actually Fidelity, and it's been verified by the certificate authority Entrust. We see some details about the TLS connection that's being used, TLS 1.3, and some of the cryptographic standards being used. Asymmetric encryption is the first step of TLS encryption, of the TLS protocol, and it's done using this thing called public key infrastructure. And here the server has a public key and a private key. The public key is anyone is allowed to see the public key, while the server keeps the private key private. If someone gains access to this private key, the server is compromised. The client can use this public key, take plain text, and encrypt it into ciphertext. This ciphertext can only be decrypted by the private key. So if anyone intercepts this ciphertext along the wire, they won't be able to decrypt it unless they have the private key. So through this, the client is able to send a secure message to the server, and the server is able to decrypt it and see the text. The most commonly used version of public key cryptography is known as the Diffie-Hellman handshake. And essentially, the client has a secret and the server has a secret. They agree on some common parameters. They take their secrets and create some mixed parameters. These mixed parameters are allowed to be public, while the secrets must remain secret to each other. They exchange these mixed colors, and anyone is allowed to see them. They can intercept them on the wire, and there's no problem. And once they exchange these mixed colors, they're able to combine it with their secret and create a shared secret. And so here, now using this shared secret, we're able to create a master key that we can use to encrypt communications back and forth from the client and the server. And here we see that the common color is allowed to be intercepted, the mixed color can be intercepted, and the exchanged mixed color can be intercepted. As long as the client keeps its secret and the server keeps its secret, they can create a shared secret together. This shared secret is then used as a key to encrypt plain text into ciphertext, like in asymmetric cryptography, but the same key is used to decrypt it back into the plain text. Since only the client and the server have this key, it's a secure form of communication, and it can be done to transfer bulk data. Symmetric cryptography is far more efficient and far more performant than asymmetric cryptography. One of the major vulnerabilities that was discovered is Heartbleed, and it made the news. It was discovered in 2014, and it was a bug in the OpenSSL library. And it allowed the client to request for more data than the server should respond with, and the server responds with data that is stored in its memory. And some of this data could include the server's private key, it could include sensitive user information, and through this exploit, the client could retrieve sensitive information from the server. This bug was patched quickly after it was discovered. About 48 hours after it was discovered, the top 500 websites were patched against this. But at the time, when it was first discovered, it affected a large number of websites on the internet, and it made major news at the time. Another vulnerability that was discovered is Poodle, and Poodle is where there's a man in the middle that sits between the client and the server. This man in the middle intercepts the client requests to make a TLS connection, and it prevents it from making a TLS connection and causes the client to fall back to older and older versions of the TLS SSL protocol until it finally uses the SSL 3.0 protocol. The man in the middle allows this request to go to the server and intercepts the responses back from the server. The SSL 3.0 protocol is considered insecure these days, and so the man in the middle could be able to decrypt some of the information being sent back and forth. And the fix for this was to disable SSL 3.0 from all major web browsers, and there was an additional proposal to patch this out of the protocol, but the most commonly used fix was to disable SSL 3.0. The future of this TLS encryption depends on the development of quantum computing, which can factor large prime numbers. And prime numbers are used in public key cryptography. It's used in RSA and the Diffie-Hellman key exchanges. And when two prime numbers are multiplied together, it's an easy operation, but factoring a large prime number, a combined multiple product of two prime numbers is very difficult. And that's how these remain secure. But Shor's algorithm can solve that problem quickly, and so new developments need to be made to public key cryptography. Symmetric key cryptography is not nearly as impacted by this. We can see a timeline for the post-quantum cryptography. It started by NIST publishing a report on it in 2016. By 2022, the White House issued a memo of promoting quantum computing while mitigating risks to cryptographic systems. Later in 2022, NIST announced that they had selected 6 different algorithms to be tested and to see if they work, if they're performant enough to be implemented. And it's projected by 2024 that the first set of quantum-resistant cryptography standards are released. The White House memo also suggested that they hope that there will be full migration to quantum-resistant cryptography by 2035. But this is a new technology, and we're currently in the process of accepting standards and starting to transition to them. And that's my presentation. Thank you.